Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm in Clearfield County, Pennsylvania, more specifically the township of Tyler. I believe it's Tyler. So, it took me a while to find this, and I wasn't videoing while I was trying to find this, but if you look up here, there are some old coke ovens from the late 19th century. So I'm not sure if you can see him, but Tony is straight ahead. So I'm going to try to catch up with him. And then we're going to talk a little bit about these old coke ovens, which are lost to the woods. But check this out. Wow, these are so cool. As I might have mentioned before, they were constructed in the late 19th century. And they go all the way down and all the way down the other way, so I'm not sure how many there are. But this is cool as we just enter inside. I did not bring a flashlight, unfortunately, but I think we get a pretty good look at it. So these are the Tyler coke ovens, and they were built in the 1890s near Tyler, Pennsylvania, which I believe we're in Tyler, but possibly we're right outside of Tyler. And they were built to support the booming coal and coke industry. You might hear somebody weed whacking. I just can't escape the weed whackers. There's somebody doing the lawn close by. Well, I guess there's kind of like a business over here, and there's some people, I guess, cutting the lawn. So anyway, but these were constructed in 1890 to support the booming coal and coke industry. And there's Tony. Tony, how far do they go down this way?
There's probably another 10 or so of them.
So I'll have to look up how many there are, but I'm going to say there's probably at least 20, Tony, because they go down that way a pretty long way as well.
Probably more than 20.
Do they all pretty much look the same except different?
Yeah.
You know what, Tony? Can you do me a favor? Tony's coming in handy. Can you just walk up to one of them so we get a little perspective? One that has a clear path. Either you can or I will. Maybe this one right here. I went inside it, but if you could just stand up in front of it, because
that was one that's
the most pronounced, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good inside. It's big. It's pretty cool. Little tiny bricks.
So how did these, I think it's considered beehive construction from what I was reading.
Yeah.
How did, what exactly, how did these work? What exactly did they do? You would burn
I think you burnt.
coal, right? Or you would
Well,
burn?
you didn't burn the coal. You heated it to high temperatures, I think, so all the gases and impurities would leach out of it. So then what was left was like a hard coal.
That makes sense. So in a way, we think it kind of burnt the coal, but didn't totally burn the coal,
I don't
right?
think it
To
burned it.
clean off all
It
the
heated.
impurities, so it would produce.
I don't think it burned it.
So it would produce. What am I trying to say here, Tony? A really good level of coal for maybe the steel industry. It's called what? Okay, so once, I should know this, once the coal is kind of cleaned through this burning process, or all the impurities are burned off, then it's called coke. Hence the name coke ovens. Geez, Jen. There's a lot of these stones and bricks, so I'm thinking I'm gonna look for some old pictures maybe to put up on this video as well.
Yeah.
Because at one time, there was probably a lot above this, right? And what do we have here? This ditch maybe was a canal? I mean, I wouldn't think it would be a railroad, right?
No, it probably would have been. It's probably, maybe there was water in there.
So, again, just speculating, but quite possibly, you can see there's, quite possibly there was a canal that maybe ran through here. And I know there is a railroad over there. I think it's some active tracks, some abandoned tracks or unused tracks. So I'm not sure I'm going to make my way over there today, but I mean, it's a pretty good distance. So I'm thinking maybe there was a huge plant here at one time, or possibly this was a canal. And if you do come here, make sure you bring bug spray, because we are getting eaten alive. As I mentioned, this is the traditional beehive design. I almost feel there's something similar to this in Altoona, which I've not visited, but I've seen videos there. But these are really cool. So these were essential for the early, I guess, steel industry. This is how they would convert the coal, which I'm thinking this area of Pennsylvania is probably coal country. They would convert the coal into coke. And these were owned by the Penn Coal and Coke Company. The facility was operated by this company, which played a major role in supplying coke to industrial markets in the early 20th century. So these are just going on and on and on. And there's some swampy water down here. I think what I want to do is I want to find out what's on top of these. I'm not sure how easy it is going to be to get up there. These are really in a remote location in Pennsylvania. I don't think there's too much population. This truly is the Pennsylvania wilds. Oh my God. So I am up on top of the coke ovens. And I see more coke ovens over there. Not sure where Tony got to, but... Oh, wow. Look at this. Oh, I gotta be careful where I step, because this might collapse. This is a hole. This is a hole that goes right down into one of the coke ovens. Definitely have to be careful where you step up here. Just taking a look from the top. Hopefully you can still hear me. So seeing that, I guess we have to be really careful where we step, because I wouldn't want to fall through into one of these coke ovens. Here's another hole right here. This is very cool. I only wish I wasn't getting bit so much. The mosquitoes are horrible here. Again, as I'm walking across, here's another hole. You can see them. They're kind of camouflaged a little. I could see, you know, there's still leaves up here, but I guess in autumn, you could quite easily step right into one of those holes. Hopefully it's coming across on the GoPro, but there are a whole lot of coke ovens over there as well. God, the mosquitoes are out today, let me tell you. I'm trying to stay in the middle of this because there are holes. I guess there had to be ventilation for each coke oven. What's cool about this though, it's not like a heritage park or anything like that, which I enjoy those too. This is just totally out there. There's no trespassing signs or private property. I believe it might be state game lands, but I'm not sure. And I do believe I see Tony through the woods. Tony, did you see there's a whole bunch of them on the other side?
Yeah, there is.
Do they go further than that, or is that it?
Oh, you go through the opening there, and then you go up that way.
All right, so I found Tony, and
Right up here.
he was telling me there's a whole lot of these coke ovens, and it does appear as if there was a canal here at one time, so he did not come up this way. This is actually really dangerous up here, Tony. There's huge holes.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense. I should have figured that, right? I mean, if it's a coke oven, there's got to be holes on the top. So I'm going to try to find my way to Tony. I'm going to turn the camera off so I don't fall in a hole.
Like if you can get.
Okay, so I'm making my way down. Another coke oven. And Tony said you can see the remains from, I guess, what was once a canal. So
Canal on this side and on this, like water.
he believes there was sort of a canal on this, ow. He believes there was probably a canal on this side and then again on the other side. But we're thinking there's probably 100 of these, Tony.
Well,
There's
then
rows and rows and rows of these.
and then across the way there's more of them.
Wow. All right, so I'm following Tony now. He was over here before.
Now that way I don't think you can go. But I think, yeah, there's them behind, but see there's over here. And then they're over there. And then here you can see the stone.
Oh my God, yes. This, Tony, this was absolutely a canal.
Yeah.
You can see the stonework down here.
I said that.
So, you did say that. Oh my God, so there's like a coke oven on this side and that side. There's two. Each row has two. Honestly, I'm blown away by how many coke ovens there are. These are all over the place. And then there's a whole bunch of them over here. And I don't know, maybe they go further.
They might. Yeah,
We just don't know yet.
I didn't go to the end. I got tired of
But here, I want to come down and look at this old stonework in what was once a canal. I don't know what canal this was.
I think it was meant, they probably transported the coal to here, or vice versa, or the coke away. I don't know which. And I'm sure you can find out.
But this was actually a huge operation at one time. And Tony, is this town Tyler?
Yeah, it's called the Tyler Coke Oven, so I assume.
So I'm not going to climb down into this right now, but I will tell you that that wall over there,
Well, you can see it collapsed there.
okay, so it started collapsing here. So I'm not going down there. But that wall, right? What do you think, 15 feet high?
Nah, 10. Maybe.
No, you think that's only 10 feet?
I think so.
All right, Tony says 10, I say 15, so it's probably like 11. Tony's usually a little closer, and I tend to overestimate.
There's a bunch of, there's like ash.
Oh yeah, slag, I guess you would call it.
I don't know.
Some leftover, some kind of.
So I don't know what they burnt to heat the coal up. Whether they burnt wood or.
Probably charcoal, right?
No,
I guess.
I don't know.
For wood. But these just are going on and on and on. I'm pretty amazed by this. I didn't realize this was this big. I mean, there's another one. I want to just take a look in one of these and see if we can see the hole at the top that we almost stepped in. There you can see there's a hole in the center. So I guess all the coal would be put in, Tony, right? There would be a huge fire in here. The coal would be put in and they would burn, I guess, the impurities off the coal. So it was a very, what? A very efficiently burning coal?
The coal was heated, it wasn't burnt. It was heated to real high temperatures and then like the gases would escape out.
Well, that makes a lot more sense. So from what Tony's saying,
But how they did it, I don't know.
we're not sure how it was done exactly, but the coal was not burned because that wouldn't make any sense, right? Because they needed the coal to burn to create the steel and the iron furnaces, or the local iron furnaces or steel, whatever. So the coal would be heated enough, I suppose, to
The impurities would escape from it like through gas.
eliminate all the impurities, or the impurities, I guess, would escape.
You would have to look.
That's kind of what we're thinking. But again, another look at the canal.
Probably should have.
This canal ran. Nice section of wall here that you can still see. So from what I was just reading, workers hand loaded the coal into the ovens and then they manually controlled the baking process. And it was often harsh and dangerous conditions. Whenever I'm in an area like this, I try to think back to what it must have been like to work somewhere like this. We think we have it bad now. I'm thinking nobody was getting rich working here. Probably immigrants just trying to feed their families. Now I lost Tony again. I think I can cut through here. So if this is something you want to come and check out, my suggestion, and it's probably what I should have done, come here in the wintertime maybe, or very early spring when it's not all grown over. It would have been much easier to find them, and you won't get bit like I'm getting bit. I have long pants on, thank God, but I have a short sleeve shirt, and I can tell I'm gonna have a lot of mosquito bites. Gross mud area here.
Look at all the deer.
A lot of deer tracks. Looking to see if there's any bear tracks. This is probably bear country up here. So like so many other industries, the oven saw a sharp decline during the 1930s, the Depression, as demand dropped and newer coke production technologies emerged. Kind of gross. This is not a pretty area, Tony. So, oh wow, Tony, I see that stone wall over here. So I see a huge old stone wall. So we definitely want to check that out. And look at all this over here, some ruins over here. This we might have found some type of a what am I trying to say? A foundation or something. Yeah. So we believe there are some remains to an old coal washer. We're learning so much about Pennsylvania, Tony, aren't we? And coal washing. Remember we were at Scotia, the Scotia Barons? And they would wash coal there. So this, I think, is going to be pretty cool, people. All right, so the coal ovens were over there. But then we've got this going on. What is this?
Well, I think these were conveyor belts.
Maybe a conveyor belt?
I think they were. I think they said there was still. Like,
wow, yeah. So do you think this was a conveyor belt, or like maybe even a track where they would push the cars through?
Whatever. Yes, yeah, something like that.
Let's take a. I'm not gonna walk through it.
Crawl through there.
But
yeah,
yeah, that's like, that feels like iron.
Yeah, I think there's still coal on them.
And this is probably coal. God, the things I do for YouTube views. But quite honestly, I love this stuff. I do love exploring, and I hope you enjoy coming along. So we think this may have been a coal washer. We don't know. But behind these bushes, it just continues on what we were just looking at. That tunnel. And then there's a huge, I don't know, Tony, that almost looks like it was a bridge abutment at one time.
That might have been.
I don't know if it was, but we're going to check that out. And that is beautiful, beautiful stonework. All right, just a look at this stonework here. So we have this wall, which is probably, okay, now I always overestimate, but I'm going to say that's 20 feet high, right? 20 feet high, Tony? close to 20, 18 to 20. So that's 20 feet high. And then we have railroad tracks. So who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, there's one on the other side.
Maybe, Tony, there was something, some type of a structure that went across
There,
so they could load
right, the trains.
the trains.
Because there's one on the other side.
Just gonna take a quick walk down to the railroad tracks, which
Yeah, they're concrete.
I'm not sure if they're live or dead. I think.
Concrete barriers.
What?
Those drums.
What do you mean? They're drums, right?
Concrete.
Oh, what are they for?
I don't know, but
All right, well, we got some kind of concrete barriers here. And there's that huge stone wall, which is very impressive. And then we have railroad tracks here, which these are dead.
oh, it's weird. They're offset.
What do you mean they're offset?
Look, there's the other one. That one's there and that one's there.
Oh, and then there's a...
That's the one we saw.
Okay, so we're not really understanding this. There is... When we first came down here, we were on this side.
The live truck.
So this... Okay. This is a live track, Jen. So if you hear a train coming, get off the tracks. I'm going to get off the tracks anyway, but there is a... What looks to be a bridge abutment, right? I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of, like I said, all covered this time of year. But it's offset with this one, Tone.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is?
I don't know.
But, Tony, remember these two barriers you were talking about?
They might have been.
They line up with
Yeah, it might have been wood structure.
this. So maybe there was some type of a wooden structure, but I'm pretty darn sure that this all had to do with the coke ovens and
Oh, yeah.
getting the
Yeah, that's
pure coal to the railroad.
That's a wash, like they've washed the coal.
And these tracks are still live. These ones are dead.
I just wondered if there was abutments across from this. Like
Look at this, Tone.
a penny?
That's a spike, but it looks like the spike was run over. See how flat it is? Somehow it must, I don't know.
Yeah.
So these tracks pretty much just die right here. I want to take another look at this huge wall. Quite impressive. But there's no abutment on this side. Like I said, it's over here. So I'm definitely going to be looking for some old pictures. Maybe that'll kind of clarify some of this. Okay. We do have iron posts over here. Or steel beams, I guess, along the side. And these go down a ways. Some of the old wood is still there. Not sure why these might be just kept here to, I guess, keep the earth from crumbling down. But this kind of looks like coal. So maybe they loaded the coal here? I just don't know. All right, so I think I'm going to end my video here. Thank you so much for joining me. This was definitely a very cool explore. If you do come here, wear long pants and wear some long sleeves. And just be careful because it is kind of remote. But just a nice chunk of Pennsylvania coal history, right? All right, so thanks for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.